everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Ensuring Your Website and Social Media Channels Play Nice. This is a topic that I know a lot of people struggle with, so it's a pretty straightforward concept, but we wanted to go ahead and explain it in a little more detail and show some examples of things that you can do right and things that other people are doing wrong that you can make sure you're avoiding. So my name is Peter Van Rysdam. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at 352 Media Group, and I'm joined today by Erin Everhart, who is the Director of Search and Social Media Marketing.
Hey, Peter.
Hey, Erin. So today we're going to go through this, but just a little bit of housekeeping first. If you have any questions, you should see a questions tab on the side of your screen with the GoToWebinar bar there. So just go ahead and put your questions in there, and Erin will be answering them or interrupting to answer relevant or ask relevant questions during my presentation, and then I'll do the same while she's talking. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get rolling here. So today's agenda, what we're going to talk about are the ideal relationship between the social channels and your website and what that looks like. And then we're going to go through some examples on the social side of how it's done right and wrong, and talk about those best practices. And then we're going to flip over to the website side and talk about what you can do right and wrong there, showing some examples and best practices as well. And then Erin's going to go into detail on some of those tools and plugins that you can use to to help make your site even better. So so let's talk about what that ideal relationship is between your social media channels and your website. And for a lot of these examples, I'm going to be using Facebook. When we get into some of those tools, Erin will be talking a little bit more about Twitter as well. So we definitely won't ignore that. But these things can be applied to Google+, to Facebook, to Twitter, LinkedIn, really any of these channels. These are more overall concepts. So the relationship between the website and the Facebook page typically looks like this, where you've got your site and you're pushing people to your Facebook page, or you have your Facebook page and you're pushing people to your website. And that's not really the ideal scenario. The ideal scenario should look a little bit more like what you see here in a second, where we have pieces of content, rather, moving back and forth, so that when I'm on your website, I'm seeing that information from Facebook, from Twitter, from whatever social media service you're using. And likewise, when I'm on your Facebook page, I'm seeing content that's pulling in from your website. Because the key thing to remember here is that people have chosen which medium to interact with you. People have gone to Facebook maybe for fun, to check out things about their family and friends, and they're seeing information about you. And if they're clicking on your brand page there, that's a huge win for you. And getting them to do that is great. Getting them to take an extra step and actually leave Facebook then and go to your web page is a huge leap for them to take, and one that many won't. So you want to bring in that relevant information whenever possible from your website into Facebook so people don't have to leave. Likewise, if you get people to your website, that's a great thing as well, and that's something that you spend a lot of money with pay-per-click ads and search engine marketing and advertising to bring people to your site, and that's where your call to action is. That's where people can buy your product or request more information or whatever it is that your site offers. So why at that point do you want to push them away to a different site? Maybe after the sale or after they've filled out a proposal request form or whatever it is, maybe then you want to encourage them to connect so they stay part of your network. But the last thing you want to do is get someone to your site and then immediately ask them to leave. So let me show a couple of examples of what I'm talking about. And I was telling Erin today that I tried to pick some examples of companies that we all don't like anyway, so we won't feel bad about it. So this is a debt collection service that I found on Facebook, and what they're doing here is what a lot of people do on Facebook, which is just use their posts as a way to push traffic away from that Facebook page back over to their website. It's not something that's engaging conversation. It's not getting people to share it. And when you're making posts on Facebook or Twitter or any of the networks, you really want to think of each post in the context of, is this something that I would share? and really a link back to your website is not something someone would share. And so you can see they're just putting information about themselves and about their website on there, and that's not something that is really engaging and is going to drive a lot of response. As you can see, there's really no comments and shares here. Another example, one of those credit reporting companies, they're doing the exact same thing here. The first link is a link to them. The second link is a link to them as well with a note. And then we've got more down here where they actually did get a comment, but it's still pushing people to read stories and things on their website. Last one, I know that none of us like towing companies unless it's because you need a lift when your car dies. But this company is doing the exact same thing. They're actually just putting in some keywords and links back to their site if you click on more there and then to their website, which actually is a white pages site. And you can see the results. It's not a very engaging Facebook page. Not that tow truck services are something that you want to engage with a lot on Facebook, but really it's just showing an example of that type of relationship and how that works. So I want to flip now and show the other side and show someone that's doing a great job of taking advantage of those people that have come to their Facebook page to actually leverage that relationship right there on Facebook. So Express, if you're not familiar, is a clothing company, men's and women's clothing. They're in a lot of the malls out there, but what a lot of other companies would do is bring you to their Facebook page, talk about their new collection, and then push you over to their website to get you to buy product. What they've actually done here on the site is put a link to an app that's within Facebook that is the current catalog. So you can see October catalog there on the left. Now what happens when you click on that is you get this image here, and you've got buttons to go left or right, and you've got information on the top about what page you're on within this particular October catalog, so things that are specific to that month. And so once you hover over different areas, you see tie, shirt, jacket, bag, and things like that. Zoom in and see that a little bit there. So let's say I'm interested in the jacket. I'm actually able to pick my size, color, read more about it, and do all of those things right here on Facebook without leaving the page. And I can even like it, so I'm then sharing that with my friends and showing them that I was looking at this product on Facebook. So you can add it to the bag, and then you still remain on Facebook. Now, the only time that you're ever taken off the page then is when you actually hit proceed to checkout. So that is a great example of bringing in that content, because obviously they have all that infrastructure in place already on their website, but they recognize the fact that it's hard to get someone to leave Facebook. They're there for a reason. They didn't probably come there to buy an olive green military jacket, but you've gotten them then to that point, and so it's important to keep them there and not lose them by having to have them click away. We're doing something a little similar with that on our Facebook page. So we know that no one is going to buy a website from us on Facebook directly without looking at us a little bit more. But one of the most popular pages on our site is our portfolio. And we have a cool little filter tool where people can filter through and see different sites that we've done. So this is what it looks like on our website. So what we've done is taking that same content and built a custom app within Facebook that people can do all of those same searches and look at our information about our different websites all on Facebook without leaving. Now when they're ready to request more information or find out more about a site, at that point we bring them over, because at that point they've kind of made that decision similar to like purchasing the jacket on Express. So this has had a great response for us in the sense that people are just more willing to interact with the page that they're already on rather than leaving and going to a site that is not what they intended to do. Now, like I said, it is difficult for us as a B2B company to sell a product directly on Facebook. So we've taken a little bit different approach and considered why are people on Facebook and how can we service those people in a more efficient way than we could on, say, our own website. So where our website is tailored towards driving sales and driving leads and that type of thing and showing off our work, we've taken the approach with our Facebook page of using it as a recruiting tool. We're constantly hiring for designers and programmers and marketing people, and so this is a medium where we can do that more effectively. So it's not always just about taking and replicating everything from your site onto your Facebook page or vice versa. It's also about knowing and recognizing how those audiences are different and tailoring the experience to that. And just to take it one step further, we're actually in the process of putting together an application for our internship program right on our Facebook page, which just lets them actually complete that entire experience on Facebook without ever having to come to our site, which we think will be very effective. So I just wanted to show you that design. That's not quite done yet, but this is another great example of a company that's doing this very well. This is a company called I Love Being Black, and it's an apparel company, and they have shirts and hats and all different kinds of things. They sell those through their website. They're not doing what Express is doing and selling those products on their Facebook page. What they've done is they use their website where they're showing off the products to push people over to Facebook to join more of a community. So it's not just pushing links back about different products that they have, but it's really building a community, for the African American population. And so you can see it's been extremely successful for them because they've got over 5 million people that like it. So they might not all be customers yet, but they're people that are engaged with their brand and the community that's been built here. So I've been talking about how important it is to keep people on your website or on your Facebook page. Now there are times where there are exceptions, and this is a great example. We have a client called Social News Desk, which has made basically an app on Facebook that is tailored to television stations and radio stations and different media sources to push the news that they're talking about on their own sites up to Facebook, so people can have that interaction here on Facebook. But when you consider what the goal is of a news station, obviously they're making their money through advertising, and Facebook has some pretty strict restrictions about what advertising you can do within your apps. So while this is great, they're getting people to read the news, they're not able to serve ads. So what they do is actually, they'll post the stories through the Social News Desk app. Oh, let me go back there. They'll post the stories through the Social News Desk app, but then they'll also post them saying, hey, check out this cool story with a little bit of commentary, and that encourages a lot of shares and likes. But when you actually want to click on the story to read the full story, that's when it brings you over to their website. So that is an example of pushing people away from your Facebook page, but in this case, that's the only way that they're going to benefit from that. And so by getting you to their actual page, you're able to see these great ads about the 4 things that happen right before a heart attack, and great stuff like that. So
we had a quick question. So are you able to get analytics for traffic between your Facebook page and your website?
Definitely. Within a service like Google Analytics, which is very common, you can look at the different sites that are referring traffic and pushing traffic to your site, and you can see Facebook certainly is one of those. I know Facebook is high on the list for us in terms of referring traffic, so that's definitely something you can see. I don't think you can get very granular to see which stories or articles or photos are what caused someone to click over to you. But there are a lot of analytics within Facebook as well that will let you know how engaging a particular story was, and actually we'll be able to see that in just a second when I think if I go back up here to our Facebook page, you can see within the Facebook page different things like the number of impressions, the percentage of feedback, and things like that. That's shown to me as an administrator on this page. And then there's also a tab on the left, which I think is under the fold here, called Insights, which allows you to get a lot more in depth with how people are interacting with your website.
Do do you have any questions or tips about how to better increase the engagement on the post that you're getting? A particular link that you should post, or kind of questions you should ask?
Well, actually, the last part you said, I think, is one of the most important things. Asking questions and looking for a response is what's going to help make it something that people will interact with. If they agree with what the story is about, they might click like, but if you ask them, why do you agree, and they're strongly opinionated about that, they're going to let you know. So the news articles here on Social News Desk are a great example. If you just had the posts like you see here within the app, where you're able to click on a different story, that's helpful, and people will click on those things, but it's not getting shares and comments, and those are important because obviously if someone shares or if someone comments on your post, it's showing up on their wall then, and other people within their network are seeing that as well. And for someone like a news station, chances are, if you're reading this news from Seattle, you've got a lot of friends that live in Seattle as well, and a lot of people in your network might also be potential customers for this station. So what they've done here by commenting on how cute it is in this particular story, and sometimes they'll ask questions, or what do you think about this new resolution that was passed, and get a lot of heated discussion a lot of times on news articles, not necessarily on an article about little wrestlers, but you can get a lot of heated discussion, which is good.
I don't know, it's pretty controversial to me.
I think so. So now going over to the website side again, just wanted to touch just real briefly on how your website is interacting back to your social media channels. So many people do this, where they just put the Facebook and Twitter buttons and push people over to those websites. And again, if you look at that, it's competing with the call to action, which is here, find out how much we can save you. And there's a lot of sites that do it a lot more prominently, and a lot of times the Facebook and Twitter icons are more prominent than the call to action itself. And remember, when you've got that person there on your site, the last thing you want to do is push them away. Obviously, you want them to join your network, but what you should do is in this case, after you click submit, then you can have that like button at that point, because that person might have a better chance of liking your page than someone else because they've actually taken the time to to interact with your site. I know that that's something we do on our site. After you fill out a proposal request form, or even when you sign up as a new customer, you have the opportunity to like us there or post to your Facebook page that you requested information or things like that. So, all right, let's see here. So an example of doing that in a much better way, I think. Here's a site that we created for a company called Purple, that is basically an interpreting service for the deaf using video, so you can actually have a conversation with someone who is a hearing person through your iPad or something like that, through an interpreter we were able to sign. So what they've done here is they have the Find Us on Facebook area, and if you look at that, it's actually pulling in that information from Facebook. So right away you can like them without having to leave the page and go over somewhere else to like them. You're able to get that information right here. And likewise, if you do want to follow them on Twitter or check out YouTube, you can click away to do those things still. So they still give you that option, but they're bringing in the most recent relevant content, which is something that can definitely help you out there. So that kind of covers the best practices and some good and bad examples. So like what we just showed on the Purple site, bringing in that content can be very helpful, and there's a lot of different ways to do that. It's not just necessarily bringing in the feed. So Erin now is going to talk a little bit about what some of those options are.
Thanks, Peter. Okay, you're probably familiar with the like button. It's frequently one of the most used social plugins around across all sort of social networks that you're currently using. The purpose of the like button is that you're allowed to let users share your content with just the click of a mouse. So prior to the like button, you typically have to elicit other responses from your users to do as little as possible when they're online. So making it very easy for your content to share is going to be critical. The like button is going to be good for most of the types of content that you have. Any articles that you're posting, videos, products, also your website as a whole. The idea to think about, okay, what type of products would I want to share and what type of things would I want to share, and is this going to be something that's going to be applicable to my users as well? Now, there are a couple different creative ways that you can use the like button to really get the most out of your sharing capabilities and really increase the number of people who are going to share your content. A couple of examples here. Style Factory, which does designer furniture, as a crowdsourcing method. They let shoppers vote on which products they want produced and which products should be offered by a discount. So here you can take a look at a screenshot that has some of their different products that they have, and just with the, oh wait, we got to go back. Wrong way, there we go. So just by looking at their products, you can tell that if people like them, they are more inclined. That's letting Style Factory know that, hey, yeah, I'm voting for this product. I actually want to see it getting developed. So they've really kind of utilized this in a new way to both share their content and realize what exactly their users want. Every like button and every share is going to be posted on that user's Facebook page too, so it's really creating that viral connection. Another example is Tea Collection, and Tea Collection is a children's clothing apparel, and they let shoppers vote on their favorite dresses and products. Now, the ones with the most likes at the end of the day are offered at a discount the next day. So this encouraged people to like their products. Every like was a share on that user's individual Facebook page. It also gave them a reason to come back. So here, you know, this initial campaign, they saw more than 3,000 likes in 12 hours and a 300% increase in site traffic. Just by offering at a 20% discount for dresses. This also really helps them increase their return visitor rates from their Google Analytics because they encourage people to come, they saw the dress the first time, and then they encouraged them to like on it, and realizing that it was going to be at a discount the next day, they came back to their site and visited. The next one is the like box. Now, the like box will let users like your Facebook page from your website, and it shows your stream of your recent posts on your Facebook page. This is allowing them to stay on your website and not actually leave to like your Facebook page. This is good if you are maintaining frequent posting on Facebook and if you want to keep people on your website without having to push them back to your website, to your Facebook page to like them, and then immediately they turn around and you want to bring them back to your website with the content that they're doing. Creative uses are going to be offering incentives for people to like you. This is the #1 way that people like brands, and the reason why people like brands on Facebook is because they want deals to exclusive information. And most of the time that means they want free stuff. So if you're able to offer these incentives and these different products and promotions, then you're more inclined to get people to like you. Now, in fact, brands that ran campaigns and gave stuff away had 2 times more of the engagement and the fans than those who didn't. So it's definitely a great way to increase your engagement and really encourage people to like you.
There's an interesting question I want to bring up here, Erin, while you're talking about this, because I think which box you pick and which type of API you pick really depends on what your goal is, and we've talked about some different ones in terms of whether you're e-commerce or driving leads or just driving traffic. So I'm going to go ahead and launch a poll that should show up on the on your screen there, and I'd love to get everyone's feedback and find out how you use your Facebook page right now, and it can kind of help us a little bit make sure we're focusing on the right things here. So I know the votes are rolling in here.
All right. So can everyone still see the screen?
I'm going to close the poll there now.
All right. Here we go. So here's an example of a company who is doing some great incentives for people to like them now. Facebook has recently come under some stringent guidelines, and you have to be very particular about how you give something away through Facebook. Most of the time it's going to be through a third-party application such as Wildfire who builds a specific app for you on your Facebook page. People register through there, like your page, they have to make some sort of engagement with your Facebook page. This particular company, Kobe Entertainment, they were giving away the playdate of a lifetime for your child and 10 of their, and I believe, Peter, this is the Backyardigans, that's who you're saying, right? Are a fan in your household?
Yeah, I think that would be a huge playdate at our household.
So here, they had the like box that was situated on their Facebook page. If they liked them, then they were brought to this app that opened up in a new tab. And this is a really great way to encourage people to come. Now, I would recommend that once you get people to come and once you have people like your page, it's extremely important to make sure that you continually provide great content for them, because you want to bring them there, but you also want to give them a reason to stay there. The next thing is the activity feed plugin, and this displays personalized, the most recent activity taking place on your website. This is really good for multiple types of content that are easily shareable, such as blogs, product listings, or any news releases. The activity feed is if a person is logged into their Facebook account and they visit your website and you have this activity feed on your website, it's going to populate some of the most recent things that are happening with your content. This allows them to see what else people are sharing and what else people are doing with your content. Similarly, they have the recommendations plugin, and here you're recommending your content to users based off what they shared before. This is really good if you're going to be able to post multiple blogs a day on your website. The recommendations tab is really great because it enables you to see, tell people things about your content that they might not know about. So here, this is a recommendations tab for Mashable, and here it's saying, oh, we saw that you shared some of these other articles, and based off your sharing preferences, we feel you may be you may be interested in these as well. This really encourages people to click on other articles within your website.
Should I be concerned that you liked your own post that you wrote there?
No, I don't think so. I think that's just good marketing, right? All right, so there are a lot of other ones that you can use with Facebook, but those I think are going to be the most applicable to what you're working with, and they're certainly going to provide you the most traction for what you want to do. Now, with any social plugin, you also want to make sure that you're not overloading your website with social plugins. If you give them 15 different options, then you're really kind of taking away with how they need to interact with your page. I would recommend limiting it to 1 or 2 at most on your page. Certainly if you have a like button on some of your product listings, and then you have your Facebook like box, and maybe recommendations on your blogs, and I think that's certainly enough. I like to think of social plugins kind of like ice cream sundaes. 1 of them is great, 2 of them probably not so much, 3, all right, now we're just getting sick of that. So with Twitter, the most popular one is going to be your Tweet Me button. This allows users to easily share your content via Twitter. Here you just integrate this Tweet Me button easily on your product listings, your articles, your blog postings, and when people click it, they are brought up to the Twitter API, and that's going to show, okay, yes, this is pulling my actual article title. It's saying who the author was. Here's a link back, and that's also via Read White Web in this instance. Excuse me about that. And so here you're really able to control what people see and how people share your content. Whenever you do a blog post, you want to make sure that people are mentioning you, whether it's the author who wrote it or whether it's your company as a whole, because that's increasing your brand awareness and your shareability on Facebook and Twitter. The next one with Twitter is going to be widgets. Now here you're going to be showing your recent Twitter stream on your Facebook page. Similar to the Facebook like box, this is really great in making sure that people can still see what you're doing and that you're active on Twitter and social media without actually leaving your site. There are a couple different options for Twitter widgets. Now, the one that we're showing right now is the official one that you can get through Twitter. It's extremely easy to integrate. All you do is select the different colors that you want, put in your domain handle, and then it'll pull the code for you to actually implement yourself. Well, this is great, and it's certainly easy. You can see that it does limit you to the style and the type of post that you can put on there. If you have the capabilities, go custom with your Twitter think about interesting ways that you can display your tweets. Here's one from thatindiedude.com, and he developed this custom graphic that is a speaking blurb coming out of him that talks about his different tweets that are coming out. This is extremely eye-catching because it's not looking like something completely really be able to integrate your data whenever you're on these different accounts. The last thing that you want is to pull in a widget from Twitter that completely goes against your actual brand image. But we ran a little bit short, so we want to leave the remaining time for this for any questions that you have. You can also ask the questions through our Twitter handle of @352media, or you can tweet to both Peter and myself at @AaronEver or @Peter352.
Yep, and I'm going to go ahead and real quick show the results. So it looks like we've definitely got some more B2B people, in the room because they're driving leads from their website. And so this is where you might consider something like integrating a form onto your Facebook page so people can go through that entire process without even ever having to leave there. Also creating community. I mean, that's something that that's important for everybody, regardless of if you're doing the other things. Facebook is a great place to build that community. So that's when it's also very important to make sure you're putting that information from Facebook onto your website. So so that's helpful. We have a couple questions coming in here. It's kind of a general one, but Aaron, what do you think is more successful, Twitter or Facebook? And I guess we'll look at that in the context of integrating into your website. Do you think one's more powerful than the other?
That's a good question, and it really depends on your goals. Now, I think just from sheer volume and engagement that Facebook is more successful than Twitter. Facebook has more analytics when it comes to it. People are staying on the site more. Extremely amount more people are going to be on Facebook than Twitter. It really gives you more options than Twitter. That saying, if you have a very news or content-driven site, I think Twitter is going to be most successful because you're able to easily spread that out through multiple different platforms. Twitter's also great in a search function. Second to Google and second to Googling what you're looking for, most people are asking Twitter if they have recommendations, which is odd because most of the time these are complete strangers, and they value the recommendations of these complete strangers. So if you have a brand or a product, if you're selling dog leashes, for instance, you can monitor the search on Twitter for dog leashes, and you can see who's looking for different dog leashes, and then you're able to connect with them directly on Twitter rather than having to, go through a proposal form or go through any sort of contact form on your website. Now, when it comes to integrating them on your website, I think Facebook gives you more options, certainly because it's bigger, and it does allow you for more personalization when it comes to Facebook. People put more information on Facebook, and from a marketing standpoint, that's a dream because you want as much information about your target audience as possible.
Yeah, and it's also important to kind of remember at this point that you don't want to put the same message out on Facebook that you're putting out on Twitter, especially if you've got both of those things feeding into your website. You're going to see redundant content there. And it's really, you've got to consider the different type of audience that's on Facebook versus Twitter, the different things they might be looking for. So you want to tailor that message. Dell is a great example of a company that's done that very well, and they've got the Dell Outlet account on Twitter where they're putting out very timely specials and limited time, limited quantity and inventory items, and that lends itself extremely well to Twitter, just with the type of medium that is. So they're using that exclusively there, and they're having a ton of success with that. And I'm sure they're doing different things on their Facebook page as well.
Peter, do you have any thoughts about Google Plus or LinkedIn?
That's a loaded question. We've actually had a debate going in the office here about Google Plus and whether or not it'll take off. There's been a lot of mention about the quantity of people that are on Google Plus right now. but there's also been a significant dip in the traffic, which kind of leads you to believe that people are going, checking it out, and then not necessarily staying and coming back. But regardless of that, we are still talking about millions of people. Even if it's a fraction of what Facebook is now, or a fraction of Twitter, Google Plus is still a place where you can connect with people, and the people that are there are passionate about it. There's with anything, you're going to have fans and detractors, and so there are people that are not fans of Facebook, and they're really excited to be on this new network. So Google Plus just opened up this week to allow business pages, so that's definitely a great place to be. Now, LinkedIn is just a little bit different, in what you're able to do as far as how you present your business there, and how much interaction takes place. But definitely having a presence there and having a network, with your coworkers, and that it's a great tool. Now, it's interesting. One of the staff here just wrote an article about how Facebook is kind of becoming the new LinkedIn in a way, in that there are a lot of new tools there for recruiting, because that's one of the biggest things that people are using LinkedIn for. So having those tools now in Facebook is maybe eating into LinkedIn a little bit, but it's certainly a very important thing, especially for recruiting.
Google Plus is also a really good traffic driver for us specifically. Looking at our Google Analytics, we've continually seen a lot of referrals coming from Google Plus. Granted, it doesn't come anywhere near the referrals such as from Facebook or Twitter, but we are still getting some traction. I had a good question coming in from Michael. So I'm in the insurance business, workers' compensation, and just can't seem to see where Twitter works for us. But we're constantly told we should have a presence. We sell products that's priced by the state. We sell ourselves on our services, not our products. This is a really good point, and sometimes it's hard to integrate yourself on social media when you are selling something that's going to be regulated by the state, and it's not something as massively appealing as dog leashes or cosmetics. Peter, do you have any thoughts about maybe ways that she could integrate, or he could integrate on Facebook and Twitter, even though it's not exactly a mass appeal product or service?
Definitely, and I think the last part of that question is the most telling. That Michael said we sell ourselves on our services, not our products. So there's you want to have that way to talk about your customer service and all those things, but it's also a place where you can get your personality out a little bit. So on your website, that's all business, and people are going there expecting to read things about your business, and in a particular tone. When they're on Twitter, they're looking for something maybe a little bit more casual. So it's an opportunity to talk about a new employee, or talk about someone that's doing a great job, because the difference is obviously it's not going to be the price in your case. It's going to be the level of service and the personal attention, or whatever those differentiating factors are. And so that's a real opportunity for you to share those things and get that message out. Now, there's also a lot of different niche ways that you can use Twitter. For example, within the different lists, you can segment different audiences that you follow. So for example, I follow different people in our industry to see what they're talking about. But one of the other groups that I follow is a small group of reporters that are talking about our industry, because not only are they talking about the stories that they've written, and I can understand. They're also and find new business, but connect with other people in professional associations, or just stay on top of things like that. So regardless of what you do, I think it's extremely important that you go out and you make sure you've reserved your name if you haven't, so that that you do have that once you do devise what your approach is, and it's something that could evolve. But I think in the short term, the easiest thing would be to go out there and talk a little bit about what makes your company unique, and then also industry news and things like that other people in your industry might want to kind of create a community around, and you can do some good networking there.
On that note, Peter mentioned sources, and I think that's a really untapped resource when it comes to Twitter. And especially for something like work compensation. I mean, you do want to sell yourselves, and as you said, like that's going to be the #1 way to do it. Now, if you are looking to establish yourself as kind of that leader in the industry, I would absolutely recommend you signing up for HERO, which is Help a Reporter Out. We have tons of queries that come in 3 times a day, and these are journalists who need sources for a specific topic that they're looking for. So you can sign up for them, and you can say, listen, I'm an expert at workers' compensation. So you can browse through those queries that come into your email, and you can say, okay, listen, this journalist from CNN is looking for someone to comment on this latest news that came out in the work comp industry. They also have a really active Twitter account that puts journalists in touch with their sources, so I would definitely recommend checking that out.
Yeah, we have another question here. Oh, it's actually HARO, H-A-R-O, which stands for Help a Reporter Out. So that's where you can find that information.
I believe the website is just helpareporterout.com.
Yep. Well, I think those are all the questions we have. If there's any last-minute questions that you have, you can certainly reach out to us on Facebook, on Twitter, and we will we'll answer those questions there. We're also going to be taking this webinar and putting it up on our Facebook, on our blog, so that you'll be able to watch it if you missed any part, or if you want to share it with anyone. So that'll do it. So on behalf of Aaron and myself, thank you very much for attending, and we'll let you know about the next webinar.
Have a good one.